Hello everyone, welcome in. Hi, I'm Chef Jay Tay. Happy to see all of you. Welcome. Hello Nan Reader. Welcome Chris Likes PC Games. Sorry I missed your raid. I'm trying to work on that. Welcome in Soph. How we doing Musk? Hello Will. Welcome in JK. Hello. Yeah, cutting glass stream did not work out yesterday, despite my desires of it happening. I had everything all set up, all ready to go. It just wasn't working with Twitch. And so I guess they didn't like the way I set it up that time either. So we'll give it another shot. I'm planning on giving it another shot tomorrow on in the morning. But as it happens, this might be the last stream with this exact refrigerator, because this thing is dying. And I complained to the landlord, and so I don't know necessarily. My assumption is that he's going to replace it, and that's likely to happen tomorrow if it does, or it could happen later on, so that might be disrupted yet again. Because they're gonna have to draw it, you could maybe get that out the front door. It's on the edge. I would think you might want to take it off the hinges. Or you could just take it out the back. And that's going to be a much easier situation. Which means taking it through my living room, where I'd be doing that. Let's do some coffee. How we all doing today? What's new? What's happening? Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully you've had a lovely day out there. So yeah, we're celebrating the great state of Illinois this week. I don't think I have black on black sunglasses. I was just thinking I should have done a Blues Brothers riff. I don't know why. Anyways. It was actually quite lovely today out there. I realized my problem here may be in this house, besides the fact that it loves to trap its heat. My PC back there is not dissipating heat. Like, it's running okay, but it doesn't... Like, if you get it too hot, it doesn't, get rid of the heat unless you, shut it off and let it cool down, because the cooling setup is, despite the fans working, despite the pump working, I'm down to there maybe being some sort of blockage in the loop. That's about the only thing I can think of at this point. because I already spent today reworking all of the fans on it, trying to get it so that like I had the airflow going opposite from normal, but it was set up properly. It was just opposite from normal. And I've switched it to being the normal setup and made zero change. All the fans running. I can max the fans out at full, and it's still just sitting there at the same temp. To the point, at one point, I was like, this has to be just like a software bug or something. Like, something has to be, like, there's something screwy with the install or something. There has to be, like. So my PC is just sitting back there, idling at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I tried to shop for today and tomorrow, even with the refrigerator, but we'll see. I thought I turned you off. Hey, Sniper Angel. I don't know what I tried to say there, but welcome in. Hello, El Capitano. Sugar. Let's see here. Oh, hey, I should do that more often. That's so much easier. That's more than I'm making. We're gonna cut that in half. Looking up a recipe to do this dough. Is it this one? Yeah, let's go with that one. looking up recipes for the pierogi dough, even though it's essentially... Well, it can be more complex. You can add sour cream in it. But it's generally just basically a pasta dough. And it's not quite giardinara what I'm going to be putting in with the beef. I'm going to do beef, hot cherry peppers, and what do you call them? Pepperoncinis. Yeah. These and these. I'm skipping the cauliflower and the other filler veggies that are traditionally in there. Carrot. So it's going to be beef, potato, since it's a pierogi, and the peppers. And then I'm going to boil them, pan-sear them, and serve them with the au jus, even though it's not true au jus. I'm going to make thin beef gravy. That is the plans for dinner. Dessert is brownies were invented in Illinois. So I am going to make homemade, from scratch, brownies. And thank you for joining me for it. Cheers. Where do we start with things? Probably the brownies. What do you think? I'm going to be cutting it close on flour tonight. Get myself a bowl out here. How much butter? Interesting. No butter in this recipe. We're going with... No, we're not doing that. No. Butter. Butter's better. Yep. What's in the bowl? We have 3/4 of a cup of gluten-free baking flour, because I have it to use up. Two-thirds of a cup of cocoa. Good cocoa. And I just added a half cup of powdered sugar, was it? I don't even remember what I just threw in there. Let's see here. Yes. We need sugar. Though I'm going to sift this without the sugar. Not so worried about stones in our flour these days. That used to be a thing. But it still gets clumpy. Hey, they. Sugar, that's right. I went and forgot what I was doing. Good cocoa? Well, we're not doing extremely gourmet, but I consider giardinara a bit better than most of your other options that you see in at least an American supermarket for cocoa. That said, you can go more premium, but just this is one of those recipes. It's not the junk cocoa. It's save that for hot cocoa and there's also other ones that are like you can get black cocoa too. I wonder what a full-on brownie with that made would be like. That's typically expensive stuff. I bought some a long time ago, and I think I never really tried anything with it just on its own. I added it into other things, and was like, we'll use some of the black cocoa, sort of. Okay. So we got all of that stuff in there. Now we got to worry about our liquids. We got this bowl over here, all dirty already. You were supposed to melt, butter. You were sizzling. Why didn't you melt? I guess we'll turn the heat back on. That sounds like a fun project for, like, cooking project for kids. Like, you have cocos from different regions. You have brownies from the world or hot cocoa from the world. I like the idea of brownies more, but cocoa's probably a bit more practical. Ad break soon. I'm just going to add 2 eggs to this. And I will see you when you get back. I need a bowl to crack these eggs into. Aww. I thought I made it into the cocoa thing. I just perfectly hit the bottom of it. It's a nice little drum in the trash bag. A daily walk to get out of the house? I used to enjoy that until the Western District Court, federal court, decided people could camp on public lands in the western half of the U.S. for like 5 years until the Supreme Court decided we could fine them for camping on public grounds. Anyways, a lot of the walking places around here were a lot nicer a couple of years, like 10 years ago. And yet, I much more would have done that before. Not so much these days. There's paths everywhere to go walking around here, though. If there isn't a path, there's a state park, which apparently he just gave free passes to for the rest of the year. Vanilla. Oh, we're still in ads. I told people we don't break the eggs in there during the ad. And I went and added vanilla. That said, they've greatly improved since the Supreme Court said that the computer what? since said the police can fine them for sleeping on grounds. Things have cleaned up, but I don't really love the politics of that in either direction. Hi, Alex. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, more detail on what I don't know really beyond what I'm saying at this point, but essentially the court had decided kicking people off of public land was cruel and unusual, and in turn the Supreme Court decided, no, we can fine them for that. But since we're back from an ad, I added 2 eggs, and I added some vanilla in there. Vanilla paste. Do we have everything now? Salt. And a buttered pan. You were good for this, but I think we're done with you now. We need a spatula. No baking powder, no baking soda. A little bit of water in there. Where did I miss the water in this? It's just mixed in with everything else. So brownies, according to the legend that I am listening to, or reading, or read, and I'm paraphrasing, were created for the owner's wife of a big hotel. Intended, looking for a treat that is portable. I think I talked about this the last stream a little bit, but I don't think brownies have really been portable until we had plastic wrap. So we have our brownie batter, a little bit drier. Let me double check here. What did I miss? No. Yes, cookies are far more portable. Let's see. Do we got any of the dark stuff in here? I'm not seeing it. I don't want to use either of these in that. I guess we're going without chocolate chips in it. Yeah. Why is that so dry? I don't remember this being this dry. Or actually, I haven't done this recipe, but this doesn't seem like it should be this dry. He says as it looks rather glossy, probably on camera. No, I need internet. Like, I can see the appeal to people that aren't addicted to the internet like I am. I'm 100% addicted to the internet. But, like, without it, like, I probably wouldn't mind being a long-haul trucker. Like, okay, so what are we cooking? 325, okay. That is dessert. Figured out. Now we gotta cook some taters. Not too many, though. I'm thinking maybe just 2. Especially when you're making pierogies, yeah. I don't know which goes with more things. Potatoes or onions? More waters means quicker cooking. Bigger pot. Bigger flame. Bigger pot. Bigger flame. I'm already going to say that bacon goes with more things than potatoes. Taters do go with a lot of things, though. Hey, welcome in, man. How you been? What's new? What's happening? I'm working on celebrating the great state of Illinois tonight by making pierogies with Chicago beef filling and brownies. Because brownies were created in Illinois. Trying to remember why I smelling gas. That's why I turned around there. So we're cooking potatoes to do for our filling. We've got our brownies ready to go in the oven, but the oven's preheating. Now we need to work on our filling for our dough for our pierogies. Quick clean up the bowl that I used here for brownie making. Care to share? The pierogies and brownies? That's the wrong recipe. Rinse the sugar and the cocoa out of this. So again, I'm mixing in some of this gluten-free baking powder that I have, flour that I have. Where did I buy this for? Ah, it's primarily rice flour. Primarily rice flour. There's some other interesting things in there like sorghum flour, tapioca flour, and xanthan gum. That could be it, so that's a pretty good candidate, probably. Because I did follow that recipe pretty much. No, and it could be that that's the way that recipe rolls, too. I mean, it's going to bubble up a little bit and soften up from the heat, so... I mean, to be truthful with brownie, you're mostly setting the egg and the sugar. Yeah, you're liquefying and then setting the sugar and cooking the egg. As far as what's going to be holding that together. Not much. That's why they're so delicious and gooey. Boil already. I need more eggs. Nice dark yolks on these. I have no idea what they're feeding these chickens, but... I mean, it says free range on the package. That doesn't mean they ain't getting fed. In fact, they probably are getting fed. Especially in winter. It fascinates me how, like, some ways people will just throw away money. And I understand there's work to be done in order to do this. And it may be not what they're interested in doing in the first place. But most vineyards grow cover crops. Well, I'm going to call them cover crops, but they'll grow mustard. It's typically mustard or something along that line in between their rows of grapes in the off seasons. And they're not really growing them to, like, they're maybe benefiting the local ecosystem as far as they're growing them, but they're not doing any, like, they're not growing mustards that they sell for seed or anything like that. Surprised that no one is, like, even for feed and other things. But then you have to harvest it, you have to bundle it, you have to... Yeah, this is basically pasta. Eggs, salt, cold water. Nope. And this is when he realizes he messed up. We're adding more flour in this mix because that was supposed to be about half that amount of water. And I'm just going to eyeball it. We've gone off of the reservation in terms of making this heavily repeatable. He says before it gets AI analyzed. You put exactly that many granules of flour in there. That's still a bit too wet. I think pretty much I understand the people that have a problem with data centers and living near data centers in that issue. Separate from that issue, I don't understand a lot of the AI hate. It exists, and I understand it's probably still going to exist whether I want it to or not. It doesn't make sense to me. It's a technology. And just like every other technology on Earth, it's going to be exploited for war and sex before it's exploited for anything useful. It's still a bit too wet. The other part to the argument, and that the one that I think a lot of these people that are like, ban AI, or AI is horrible, is if you take the data center argument out of it. I don't think many of them realize that you can do a lot of this stuff on your computer at home, and they're starting to develop things that, like, the whole AI infrastructure is built up on this we have all the information here ready to us all at once mentality. When the reality is when you have true AI, if you have a full actual reasoning model, it doesn't need the information if it can get the information it needs. And so we don't need these huge data centers other than to give great access to the masses. You know, it's going to boil down to being able to be in a home computer to a certain degree. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, something like that. Like, they have people that are working on models that are very much... I'm speaking because I just heard this. Of people working on models that are essentially dumb as a brick, but they're excellent at executing things. I just got that flour out to add more flour into it, and then didn't add the flour because I was talking. Now we at least got a workable dough. Have you heard of OpenClaw? Or mini forks of OpenClaw? I don't have grass. Well, yeah, I do have some growing up here and there, but largely I don't have grass. My neighbors have grass. This is still a bit too sticky. I'm gonna let it sit in this floury bowl. The difference a sprinkler. I don't know where to put this for a while. I really like this bowl. I really wish I could have another bowl just like this one. But the fact that this one is very obviously not usable for ready-to-eat foods anymore. It's got a few cracks in its glazing. I've been using this to hold... this has been sitting up here, and you can see from the onion peels next to it. It's where my garlic and ginger and shallots and stuff have been sitting. But now that I'm getting rid of the refrigerator... Well, not getting rid of. My landlord is doing something with the refrigerator. I have to get the stuff off of it. I already took off all my... I have a whole bunch of photos, or I used to have a whole bunch of photos and magnets and comics and stuff on it that I've already taken most of that off. Alright, dough. We set with that. I guess we gotta work on our filling. Is our oven up to temp? Let's throw our brownies in the oven. How long are we cooking these brownies? Ooh, that's a bummer, Matt. So, though at the same time, like half of my stuff. I'm a little confused if they're actually working as intended. My mom gave me this set of, I think, 6, like... They were supposed to almost work on a static cling, like, effect. They were what I was holding onto the stove, several comics and stuff. And they peeled off perfectly clean. That was awesome. But they feel like they're, like, stick 'em or so. Like, I didn't... The front of mine, I would put stuff on the front of this if it wasn't... Like, this is magnetic. But at the same time... you all see it. And, yeah. A lot of you are great, but the 1%... Steak's always great. I was thinking of throwing, I completely forgot during the stream. I hinted or mentioned it. I don't know if I full on said I was planning on doing this. I have a bottle of Bob's Roquefort dressing in there. And I was strongly thinking of adding the Roquefort dressing as a mix-in to the spinach. It was plenty creamy on its own, did not need that one bit. Flavor would have been perfectly fine in there, but I think it would have been like soup if I had added it in there at the same time. The potatoes are a bit of a mess. They just didn't turn out, but they were an experiment to begin with. So, I mean, I still ate them. They were delicious. They were just ugly. I didn't share the photos of the steak all over the place because I only happened to take one photo of the entire dinner. And so I put it in Discord, but I'm waiting to see what now says. It's probably not. Let me quick make sure that I have the needed thing running over here. Let's see if it times out. Gemma 4, pre-warmed and ready. Is it going to tell me the model was pre-warmed and ready and then have it time out on me? I have a feeling that's what's going to occur. I do this to myself all the time with, like, I talk about how forgetful I am. Here's a perfect example of how forgetful I am. I will half of the time go to refill my water, pour my water, and in the time that I go to refill the water container and put it back in the fridge, I forget the water and go back to doing what I was doing. Someone rated? No. It's imagining that. Weird, the things the bot thinks to remember. Like, Room and Board's great. They've rated me and I've rated them. I think it's been a month or two. Where it's getting that info from, just... That said, I've done absolutely nothing to the now command other than what I did just there, making sure that the model was actually running in the back room. Making sure Olama was running. So now we're doing fillings. Do I have anything else that I want to throw in here besides these? Nope, I think that's all that's in the fridge right now. So we're starting with pre-made, pre-sliced. Let's do this on a protein board. Roast beef. And for those worried about this being in the refrigerator, I bought these today. So at best they've been in a slightly warm refrigerator for an hour or two. Or 3. But I am going to now slice in this direction. So we got roast beef shreds. I'm tossing this other one. That other one just had a little bit too much ammonia for my taste. What? You're telling me you all like ammonia with your deli cuts? I only used one of the 2 packs of roast beef because the other one was smelly. So these are cherry peppers, but they're labeled as hot cherry peppers. So hopefully they got a little bit of a kick here. For those that are unaware, I'm forgetting what exact... Is it Listeria? Now I gotta Google it. Like... Strong indicator of spoilage was what AI said. I guess it can mean several, which makes sense, but there is a specific infection that happens a lot in deli meats and stuff like that. And it's often, it like straight up lives in the refrigerators of the producers, and it's a nightmare to get rid of in certain cases. Was I ever a butcher? No. Well, not in the proper, true sense of being a butcher. I've worked in like handling meat and working with that sort of stuff in several different types, locations, and situations. Whether it's handling the meat for a restaurant, or I worked in the meat department for a while on my externship. That was fun. That was where I learned to use the sink to clean your ribs. They had these giant, like, industrial sinks in their butcher shop, and I would assume they did this on purpose, but they tied just about everything to them things, to their sinks. Nah, being a butcher never really excited me as far as food. Not to say it isn't, like, it's a decent job. You can make good money doing it. it just didn't really excite me. Especially in school, I was all about the, like, in college, and the time I was in college, and after, for a while after, there was a big, like, it was like the modernist cuisine push in the food world, where there were a whole bunch of new techniques and technologies that were largely taken from corporate large-scale production and made usable in smaller scale kitchens, like distillers and stuff like that. And a lot of that new tech reinvented or was a large pull for me in the industry to begin with. You had Fran doing all of his foams, and you had people doing all sorts of interesting high-end foods that the restaurants that were making all of it disappeared during COVID. And the movement itself has sort of like been seen as a bubble and a pop, because like there was nothing really behind the movement other than we have new toys. Like it wasn't like a spiritual food reawakening, or like we didn't make carrots orange for the House of Orange or something like that. It was just we had new toys. And so there was no real, like, core structure behind the movement. And it died. Okay, so we had the start to our mixture here. Just going to add our cooked potatoes into this. And that'll be our filling. You know, I think I'm going to make the gravy now. We'll move the potatoes off to the side here. And I think I'm going to use a pan. Make a quick roux here. And I'll see all of you lovely people when you get back from the ads. Going back to the whole butchering thing again, like, I was certainly taught a lot of it in college, but a lot of what I was taught in college was, you know, okay, these are the different codes you need to order things. These are how things are typically sold by the major meat packers. Things along that line. At the same time, they had us break down like a whole lamb and several other things during the class, but a lot of it was informational from my memory or recollection. And the other thing about I talked about what fascinated me about cooking versus butchery. The thing that doesn't fascinate me about butchery is largely a, we're going to cut these all and get the perfect weights on them. It's I didn't see much getting a paycheck and going home is one thing, but like beyond that, I don't see much enrichment in the butchery trade. And if you look at what I'm doing now, I'm toying around with new foods. I'm forcing chat to give me challenges to cook with. It's more along that line. Beef bouillon. This is going to be my beef gravy for this project. It's not really gravy, but I think they even sell bouillon that is designed to imitate au jus. And this is just beef gravy bouillon. Almost looks like mashed taters. Got myself. Luckily, it's on the leg where none of you will ever see it. We need more water. And I'm not unconvinced that I need to add more into that. In fact, I do think I need to add more bouillon into that. Go big. Beefy. Though truthfully, this is going to be the major beef flavor to this, unless you think the shredded beef is really going to add some beefiness to this. Now we turn the flame on that way down so it just lightly bubbles. Did I forget to set a timer for the brownies? It was mostly frustrating. I was talking about it earlier. My other computer in back, my sort of main computer, my entertainment computer, seems to be unable to dissipate heat. Like, it's not just straight up overheating, but it's unable to get enough. It's building up heat if I'm using it. Depends on what alcohol they're cooking with. There's some incredibly cheap alcohols out there. No, I wanted to stay on that side. Do you cook with alcohol? How expensive is it for you? Thank you for the follow. Ooh, a theme redemption. It didn't do anything fancy in alerts, though. It's supposed to do fancy things in alerts. What's your theme? What am I cooking? Margaritas and chicken carnitas? Be done. Monday or Friday? Let me see the calendar here. What are we looking at here? First Monday or Friday I have free is either the 29th or the 3rd of next month. Monday the 29th it is then. It's in the calendar. I guess I didn't show everyone what I'm working on here, did I? Oh, I don't even have that camera really well set up anymore. I have to refix that. I have rolled out my dough and am using my ring mold to cut rounds. Alright, so we got our filling there. Working on our pasta. I need to dumpling dough, pierogi dough. It's not pasta. I'm offending someone calling that pasta, whether I don't know if it's an Italian I'm offending or a Polish person that I'm offending, but one of them. Probably both. Alright, that's lovely. Let's finish our cutting pasta rounds. Dough rounds. Wrappers. They're absolutely not wontons either. Get off my finger. And go through and try and mash this into a little more homogeneous filling. For those just joining in, what you're looking at in the bowl that I'm working with right now is a combination of hot cherry peppers, pepperoncinis diced up, and deli meat, roast beef, fresh cooked Idaho potato. I think that needs garlic, salt and pepper, pepper. A little MSG, because why not? And then Italian herbish stuff. I'm going to do a little dried oregano. You can throw in some basil if you like. You can throw in thyme. And then we're just going to do spoon-sized fillings. And hopefully seal them. First one a little bit wonky. We'll improve with time here. And then we need to put these on parchment so they don't stick to everything. And let's do, just because it's convenient, on a sheet pan. And we can reuse you for boiling them. Yeah, not my perfect two pierogies. We'll get better. I may have rolled these out a bit too thin. I may be just going about this wrong. I maybe should have it in my hand to start with. There are, of course, all sorts of crimping tools and make this perfectly fancy tools out there that I may have a couple of them I'm not using. Part of it is I'm not wetting these. They're not sticking, the dough's not sticking to itself. It's picking up moisture from the filling and from my hand, and then sticking to things instead of itself. Yep. That one's just getting worse the more I try and handle it. Let's see here. Let's look at pierogi making in the article. Let's see how they're doing it. Oh, just that easy, huh? But the only thing they're doing differently is they have their fillings all pre-portioned nicely. So it's just I'm inept at my job, apparently. This one's a bit overfilled, but it's somewhat sealed. Somewhat. And again, the more I handle it, the worse it gets. That one wasn't half bad. I filled it less. This one's worse. It's now stuck to my hand on the underside. I have to say my past experiences at making pierogies were more enjoyable. Then again, this perfectly fits in my two things that are driving me nuts as far as the cooking world. Filling dumplings and making caramels right now seem to be my nemesis in cooking on stream. That one's not half bad. Brownie check. Brownie's coming out. Brownie's coming out of the oven. Brownies. They're even cracking. Welcome in, Rick. I guess the dough just didn't dry out enough because, I mean, it's starting to work pretty beautifully now. I don't know if my technique has changed enough or it's just how much moisture was in the dough. Because obviously it's losing moisture as it sits and has air blown over it from the fans in the room. Oh, you split right as I was setting you down. Boo. Yeah, these are all working pretty well now. I mean, I had the one split as I sat it down, but that's different from them like splitting in my hand like they were earlier. Like before, they just weren't cooperating. Last couple. Running out of filling here. Fall out of the spoon. Get her water boiling. I should have got that going a little bit ago. Like, it's so strange how just a little bit of difference in, I think, moisture in the dough has gone from not being handleable, sticking to my hands, to sticking to itself again and being heavily portable. It's sort of strange. I just threw out a hefty hump of dough there that if you're doing pierogies, you could do more. I just don't have more filling, and that's a bummer, Soph. Both on the whole no contact thing and the year moving on. Sort of a growing up thing, though, too. I mean, I know it's sad, and it's always sad in person at the same time, but it's gonna happen to them a lot more times in the future. Yeah. And it's also sort of like kids don't have phones to really, well, first it was kids have phones, and now it's kids don't have phones. I definitely grew up with the, in elementary and junior high, it was call around and meet up, and I think the world is tough friendship-wise right now. Like, especially for older people, but I everything is like the internet and social media has made it where being a hermit is a good thing. Like, we live in a world where, I mean, all you have to do is look at online and see, the people doing things just for clicks. Do you want to be a part of that? And I mean that people doing things to the public just for clicks. Try and fix up a couple of these disaster pierogies, but I think they're all just going to end up being second batch, hidden from the world, but still eaten. We got a decent plate of pierogies going there. Let's see what else we need here. We need to get our gravy back loosened up. We need to get this oven turned off that I'm no longer using for brownies. So we'll put a flame up back underneath that gravy. Add a bit of water in there. Like the last time I think I remember doing something with someone that I consider a friend was probably about a decade ago. Oh, no, not that long ago. 5 years ago? Went to a baseball game. Last baseball game I've been to. Though at the same time, I'm partially the reason that didn't continue either, because he was busy with work, but I'm just... Right after my business had died, I was just not... happy camper. And I'm saying that like I'm a happy camper now. I'm ready to relax. I don't know what I'm going to watch tonight. I finished the series that I was watching, and I said in Discord yesterday, I was debating getting into Stargate again. It's been many years. I watched the first, I skimmed through the first, 3 or 4 episodes, and I'm like, this is not hooking me. This is not doing it for me. I know chat has mentioned several things to me that I've completely forgotten on. True crime stuff on YouTube, like the old TV shows on YouTube now, or is there new true crime stuff on YouTube too? I'm sure both are there. But I'm meaning more my, like, decompress at the end of the end of night thing. Like, I tend to watch some sort of, not something new, not engage my brain, not, you know, I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm not trying to be awake and active. Or rather, I'm trying to go, or like, be ready to go to sleep. Project Runway. It's got me wondering if... Do they have the old, like, Real World series and all that nonsense? I have never watched Project Runway. How does that, like, I know there's at least somewhat of a fashion aspect to that. Beyond that, I'm almost completely lost. I don't think I've watched an entire episode. I don't think I've even watched a part of an episode. Okay. Hopefully they actually show some of the fashion, or is it like Top Chef where you have a show full of ads for 25 seconds of actual food work? I'd like... Because honestly, that's like my only complaint about Top Chef. Otherwise, Top Chef is a great series. It's just nothing but ads. And then watch our online streaming ad. It's gotten way... I haven't watched several of the last seasons. It's already worse than let's all pile into our Toyota car to go to Whole Foods and show a couple of key ingredients while we're there at Whole Foods, so that we can come back and have the quick fire with nothing but ingredients from... Why you no boil? I told you to boil. You can even sort of like see it, like the progression of the early ugly start to the nice finish. I think I'm going to take a short AFK myself here during this ad break. And I shall be back in 5. We're just waiting on this water to boil. So if no one's looking at the water, it'll boil, right? Right?
No, Jane and Ann aren't the Crest testers here. Their daddy is. You see, Crest also showed it worked for older people like the Allbrands before it became recognized effective against cavities. Jim, when were you in this toothpaste test?
Back in college.
Let's show the story filmed at a recent reunion. Well, Jim, how did you become part of this toothpaste test?
The dentists at Indiana University asked us to.
Did many others join you in the test?
Quite a few. 246, as a matter of fact.
Did every one of you use Crest in this test?
We use Crest. Their side, regular toothpaste.
Do anything special?
No, everyone brushed as usual for 2 years.
But your group had
34% fewer cavities with Crest.
You know what's happened since these tests, Mrs. Allbrand?
Well, a lot of us use Crest.
And Crest has become the only toothpaste recognized effective against cavities by the American Dental Association. Their Council on Dental Therapeutics reports Crest has been shown to be an effective decay-preventive dentifrice that can be of significant value when used in a conscientiously applied program of oral hygiene and regular professional care. What's your program, Mrs. Allbrand?
Wash between meal treats, brush often, and have regular checkups.
And use Crest, of course. Crest with Fluoristan, the only toothpaste recognized effective against cavities.
Here's the newest, most exciting sound in town. It's a General Electric blender that's going around. Completely new from base to lid. Take it apart, see what they did. The non-skid base is the lowest you'll ever see.
The decanter has a 36-ounce blending capacity.
The non-spill lid is really smart. For blending convenience, it comes apart. Add additional ingredients, if you will. Look, no splash, see no spill. Put them all together and you know it's true. The General Electric blender is best for you. If you want to know another reason why,
It's only 10 1/2 inches high.
stores easily on the counter or on a shelf. There's 1,000 things you can make yourself.
Make party spreads.
Great cabbage heads. Blend the meatloaf for a family of 8. Make ice cold drinks you'll appreciate. Now's the time for you to buy the General Electric blender.
Did he say only 10 1/2 inches high?
If you're still watching television on a small screen set, you're missing a lot. Here, for example, is a close-up on a 10-inch set. See how much smaller it is than my head? Now I'd like to show you the same close-up on a 21-inch set. There. Just look at the difference. She's as big as I am now. You can have big screen close-ups just like that. Close-ups as large as life with RCA Victor's great new 21-inch model, the Master 21, at the lowest 21-inch price in RCA Victor history, as little as $199.95. Visit your RCA Victor dealer soon. See television's greatest value, the Master 21, big screen 21-inch quality TV for $199.95. And remember, every year more people buy RCA Victor than any other television.
What? Keeping the coffee in the icebox?
Yes, Mr. Jones, it's a new kind of coffee, roasted by a new secret process. Hence, this new none-such coffee has a different flavor, a flavor preserved by vacuum packing, the flavor retained by refrigeration after the jar has been opened. Just taste it. You can't miss that delicate aroma, that clean, mellow taste. Yes, in cooking, the way to a man's heart is most of all through the coffee pot. In every jar, you'll find 3 special pointers, valuable in all methods of making coffee. Try new none-such coffee now. Use half the jar. If not 100% satisfied, get all your money back from your grocer without argument. Special for Movie Week, only 28 cents a pound, plus 3 cents refundable deposit on the jar.
Hello, may I come in? I am Chef Boyardee. Perhaps you have seen my picture on Chef Boyardee products at your grocers. Today I want to tell you about a wonderful dinner for 3. A dinner that only costs about 15 cents a serving. It's my own Chef Boyardee spaghetti dinner with meat sauce or mushroom sauce. It all comes in 1 carton. A full half pound of tender, quick cooking spaghetti, 10 full ounces of rich, tasty sauce, and to top it off, a whole can of zippy grated cheese. A wonderful food. So ask your grocer for...
Hello. It's almost boiling. It's trying to boil. Let's give it further encouragement. Let's get our brownies out of the sheet pan. Brownies look like brownies. Man, bacon is just running away with it. Hey, we're finally boiling. Alright, so now that we got our water to a boil, we're going to switch burners. Lid back on top. The reason is we need this set for doing our searing of the pierogi after they've been boiled. Give the gravy a stir up here. I'm seeing all sorts of fun stuff being shared in the Discord. I thought I'd point this out. We got garden updates and cute balloon animals. We got pets galore. Or at least cats galore. And one last day on the vote. Really, you lost that much heat just moving. Wow. Do I still have? Oh, that's because the bod isn't modded anymore. Or, the bod isn't, subscribed anymore. So many subscriptions. I'm going with it. Tired of waiting. Let's do 2 more. So we have lard that I previously rendered from the ribeye trimmings. We'll throw that in the pan there. And throw a hunk of butter in there too. So we got our beef gravy here to start with. It was supposed to be sort of an au jus, but it's going to be a gravy. Because I don't really feel like thinning it out again. Chicago Beef Perogies. And fresh made brownies. Looking like black on that monitor because it gets no color to that side, but they are gorgeous looking brownies. I think they're going to continue to crack and have even better, flaky top to them as they sit there a little bit. This turned out lovely too. Like, I had a fair number of mess ups with this. I was not doing a high percentage on my filling. We still got a delicious looking plate of food there. And I've got probably at least 2 more of those yet to still boil. And there's 2 in the pan that are broke. So, like, cost-wise, this is, family dinner here for a pack of sliced roast beef, some jarred peppers, and potatoes, a couple of eggs. Most everything else, like, I would say in the margin, like, it's not free, but like the bullion's not hugely expensive. Butter is probably up there. Let's get a photo before I put this on the merry-go-round. No one saw that. There isn't a VOD or anything. Okay, I think it's time for me to go enjoy dinner. I shall be back here tomorrow. Depending on things with refrigerator issues. Everything is sort of up in the air because I'm not going to sit here and say repairman has to be here such and such time because that's my schedule. It's not going to work that way anyways. So, my plans are to, without them having been changed, which they probably will, cutting glass in the morning, starting in on that plan that I posted in the Discord. And then tomorrow night, I'll be back here. We're going to be doing deconstructed soup and sandwich. Skeleton made the suggestion. I'm going to be doing a deconstructed cheesesteak and baked potato soup. So I hope you come to join me for that. Let me see who is out there. I think I shall leave it here for now. I wish you all a wonderful evening. And I shall be back here soon, if not early or late tomorrow. We've got Wednesday for the ingredient challenge. Yeah. I'm gonna go eat. Good night, folks.